Hey everyone, it's Ellen and welcome to my channel. So it's Friday. On Fridays I like to do florals, and today I decided to do an intuitive abstract floral painting. And what do I mean by that? It's just like you're going for it. You're just going for how you feel, the colors you feel at that moment, the energy you feel at that moment. I talk about the brushes that I use and the energy that I feel, how I want that kind of layout, how I want to paint this. In abstract, there's no right or wrong with abstract. There's just having fun and creating. Some people get intimidated by abstracts, and I can understand that because when I started doing them, I was like, I don't like it. But it's all about play with abstract. It's really not about, specific kind of thing. And I'm just playing with the brushes, using different strokes. I'm going to go in and a little bit later on and add some gouache and mix in with my watercolor to go on top of some of the painting. It's just all play. That's all it's about. So we're just going to do that today. Also, check out my Patreon. I have ad-free videos, traceables, exclusive tutorials on a live stream in the top tier. It's just a place people go and support my channel, which I appreciate so much. You can check it out in a second. And without further ado, let's paint some abstracts. All right, so start with, I'm going to go over my supplies. I'm using a watercolor block this time. This is from, is it Boahong? Boahong, sorry. It's cold press. 140 pounds. This is acid-free 100% cotton. And so a block would be good for this because it's going to be very wet on wet. You can tape it down, but you might want to stretch your paper first. Or you can use the wet on wet method that I've used before, but that's very, very wet saturated paper. I don't want it like that. I've already mixed up some paint colors. Just have my yellow, cadmium yellow deep, and I mix it with some peacock blue to make this green. And then I took the same green, put it here, and added more Prussian blue and some burnt umber. Just use the colors you want to use. Dark greens, light greens, some yellows, some cranberry colors, oranges. We'll be playing with flat wash brushes. I have a 1 inch and a 3/4 inch. This is the craft one. It's no big deal. Some cheap old brush. This is a Princeton Velvet Touch one I got, but same thing. You just got a cheap one. I'll be using my number 12 Neptune series. I'll be playing around with probably my number 8 long round, for some nice pointy kind of strokes. And so this is just a freeing abstract, floral. It doesn't have to be this really intense kind of picture. I also have, I'm trying to find my gold paint. I have gold watercolor paint somewhere along, here it is, gold. I might use this and splatter some of this in here. I'll put it up here in the corner. Or you can use gold ink, white gouache. We can splatter some of that. White acrylic ink, which I have here. I also have brown. I don't know. This is intuitive painting. I don't know how I feel when I'm painting it. As I go, I might change my mind and add some things like this brown acrylic ink. I have gold, but it's kind of washed out. Maybe when it's dry, I'll do some pen and ink. This is the things you're going to think about. This is the stuff where you have fun and you're not frustrated, right? And you're just taking all the brushes you have and playing with them. So playing with color and whatnot. So I'm going to take the big old 1 inch brush, get some water on it, pick up some paint. I'm actually going to loosen up some of this Prussian blue and some Paynes gray here. Let's mix with the Prussian blue. Ooh, deep blue gray here. I already have the burnt umber here. And I'm going to loosen that up, put some of that here, and play around with it. So you really want the paints all ready to go. And we're just going to start to play with color and energy of painting. So what do I mean by that? Loose, fast movement. So I might move my arm this way. I think I might paint things going in an angle this way. You could paint in an angle going this way or straight up and down. It's up to you. Be a little conscious in the beginning of that, right? Just splattering right in the middle. So I think the energy is going to go like this today. Like left to right, up in the corner. And I'm going to paint that way. So I might just start with some of this yellow. Add a little brilliant orange to that. It's like a mustardy yellow. And maybe I'll make something like a sunflower or something. I'm just kind of just doing these strokes like this. Look at that. Holding outside. Look at that. Already I have the cool energy of this flower, and it looks like a sunflower. I'm working fast. Fast is the key. I talk about this a lot. The faster you go, the looser you are. I'm not a singer, so I'm trying. Having fun here, guys. See? Just making these movements. This is wet on dry. So you got these two energetic, like yellow kind of flowers. Let's start sticking in some orange kind of tones. Same old brush, this 1-inch brush. Maybe put some orange in here, add a little red. Play around with that. I don't know what I'm doing with that. I don't know if I even like that. Right? We're still playing with just the color. Maybe add some brown. Kind of playing in here. I don't know. Again, I just twisted my brush. Going like that. Now I'm going to grab that blue-gray. I don't know why. I just feel like doing that. And just look at that dark, intense color. Yeah, go grab it again, the Paynes gray. Just have the swoop, swoop. See, just tapping and swooping. So already it's this cool looking, I don't know, energetic kind of flower kind of thing. Grab some of my green, because you know the flowers need kind of a stem to go with it. And that energy is going that way also. Just kind of pushing the green, kind of like this. Stem, grass. I don't know why, I just feel like doing it. Just grabbing some more yellow, a little bit of the peacock blue. Getting that real energy kind of movement. Okay, clean up my brush. Gonna grab some more of this green, just kind of pushing it up with the brown up in here. Right, and I might grab some of that blue-gray. Back in here. I don't know what I'm doing exactly. I'm gonna grab some ultramarine. I'm just playing with the color. Here's the blue-gray again. A lot of energy going here. I'm gonna go back in with the yellow and some orange. Put some more of this color back in here. Ooh, see what's happening with that. Just making some more strokes, right? The cranberry can kind of go up here. Don't know what I'm doing exactly with that. Maybe I'll start to make like a flower here. Just pushing down. Don't even know if I like that. Looks too generic, right? So what I'm going to do is kind of wipe it. And erase it. Some water. Just kind of lift it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So I'm kind of erasing it. That's why you want to use it on a block or like some thick kind of paper, because this is a lot of water. So I kind of erased that. Go back and add some green. Playing around with that. Or just playing here. It's all about play. I felt like you weren't getting the whole picture in, so I'm going to remove some of this again. Go back and add some of that gray, maybe some brown. I don't know, just having fun. And if I don't like it, I could just do another one. This is not stressful. It's just having some fun. Don't stress out about stuff like this. And that gray, kind of loose, kind of pushing that color around now. See where it's going. I'm liking some of the energy that's going on in here. Clean off my brush, grab some water, kind of pushing this color around now. It's almost like I've erased it, which I like to do often, but I'm just moving the color around. You can still see some of the stems that I kind of put in here. I'm going to go back in and add some greens. This is fun to do. Play with your brushes. So I'm still using this same old brush, by the way. Haven't switched yet. This is the first phase. It's just me getting my frustration and energy out, right? Get some browns in there. Intense. Some grays again. Maybe some more intense green. So I've got the Prussian blue mixed with the yellow. Just get right in there. Now that's some Paynes gray. Try and do like a nice leaf. See, push down, twist it. It's kind of bleeding. I don't know if I necessarily like it. There's ways you can play with that. You can lift it up from this actual brush. Let me grab the other 3/4 inch brush. So it's doing this spider bleed, and you can kind of lift the paint around it. and play with that a little bit. See? Kind of switched it. It's kind of got this funky tail now. I don't know if I like it necessarily, but I'm going to add some of the leaves in here to offset it. And I can lift it again. I have a bunch of lifting kind of things in my YouTube. You can see it with the abstracts. So go back and look at some of those videos. So I'm going back and adding some of this dark green again. Tippy tapping. Using this. It's a finer line when you hold it on its side. Still very, very wet. Just grabbing the dark, more pigment, less water. Just getting in there. Just getting that energy. Ooh, look at that. Do we like that? I don't know. Let me get a little chartreuse going up in here. Just love that chartreuse color. So it's getting pretty intense over here. I don't know if I like it. We'll see. I might want to lift some of that color too. And you can use a paper towel, by the way. Just don't do too much, because then you'll start to have the paper kind of pill up a little bit. So I might kind of erase this going on over here. See, grab water and kind of pushing the paint around. And I feel like it was getting too intense. And I get my paper towel, kind of tapping it, moving it around that way. Yeah, much better. See? See how you can play with this? Now, I didn't do the splattering because I don't know if I want to do it in this one, but you could. Just don't overboard. It's very wet in here. I don't want to play too much in there. I'm gonna grab some Paynes gray. I do want to start to play more with the flower situation. So, that yellow's gotten too green, but I'm gonna go back in. Really kind of hone down on some of these petals. Give it some real, you know, kind of depth, and you can see them better. Right? You could start to lift some of the paint around the petal here. See, I'm going back and tapping it, cleaning my brush. Lift it. Playing around with that. Go and add the dark brown center, like you would see in the sunflower. See how that's kind of like giving it life now. I'm adding in the brown, burnt umber with some Paynes gray. It's really just thick paint. And you see that little one kind of hanging on like a thread by there. Now this is just kind of like mishmashy in here, right? I want to do some more lifting. Lifting up the paint. Getting some more movement. By the way, you can do some scraping too. You want to have like that scrape where the bleed goes right into the leaves. Play around with that. Just a little bit right there. Lifting up a little bit here. I'm just having a little fun with this, seeing where it's going. This is intuitive painting. This is like playing. Now, I didn't like the red flower I did here. I didn't like it with the, how I paint it with this brush. Let's try it again with this brush. I think the other one was a little too big. Mix up some cranberry kind of color tone here. Tapping it. Let's see. I didn't like the shape that I made. That seems to look a little better. Maybe kind of like more of an anemone type of shape. I don't know. Less so goofy. It was like a goofy daisy. Play with some little doodads floating. I'm going to put some red down in here too. Again, getting the pigment a little thicker. Playing with this a little bit. Kind of balancing it. I'm doing kind of fall tones. Put some browns in here too. Just tip tapping some dark brown. It's so wet to me to try and put in some stems. Kind of ridiculous, but we'll try it up here. It's a little drier. So I'm going to take my number 8 and just do the tip, kind of pull up. Start to play with some really thick paint stems here. Just kind of pulling it down. See, it's really bleeding in here. Just kind of wiggling my brush and pulling it up there. You can see that kind of energy going there. Here it's dry, right in here, so it's not going to bleed. Got a lot of color in here. I don't necessarily like if I like that. I think I'm going to remove some of that. Lifting. I like the lifting. It's fun. You don't want to do too much of it. See, and this is kind of just really hard-edged. If you want to play with adding a little bit of watercolor, just tapping it around the areas, just kind of having it bleed that way. Just do it slightly. Don't oversaturate it. Now it's kind of blending nicely. Again, gonna lift some of this paint here. But I might go back in and add a little deep dark color right in here. I don't know why. I just feel like it needs it. And this green. It's still bleeding a lot in here. I don't necessarily want that. And I'm gonna remove some of this paint. This is why I'm using a block, by the way. Like I said, see, it's bubbling up. It's very, very saturated with water. How I like to play. Yeah, I think I made it a little too dark. So just remove some of the paint. So at this point, I really need to let it dry. It's gotten a little out of control. It will dry a little later in some of the areas that I wanted later, like in here. Just gonna one more pass of getting rid of some of that color, tapping it, making it lighter. And now I'm gonna have to let it dry before I go in and add some really fine details. I'm gonna go play with tapping it. So I didn't splatter anything. I like the texture that's going on here. And when I let it dry, I'm gonna come back in and use some more stems and flowers and see what happens. All right, so by the power of magic television, it's now dry. And now we can take the brush, the 8 long round, and start to play with, you know, stems and other things we can do. We can splatter too, but let's just play with some stems now. We've got the green color, we've got the brown color. Let's just see what we come up with. And I like to hold it like this sometimes. Again, get the energy kind of going like this. There's that dark green. This, I would use a skinny brush for like the stems. You know, getting that energy going back to where I wanted it to be. So here's that stem, kind of in the stem here. Grab that light green, chartreuse. Start to play around with doing some dry brush leaves. Same thing with this dark green. Just kind of making these funky little leaves here. Now for a sunflower, I would use a bigger brush for bigger leaves. So going back to this 3/4 inch, getting that yellow, getting that green dark. I like to do this twist kind of motion like that, and then get that stem in there. See that? And you can go back in with the light green. Just add some nice dry brush. Just kind of having going off the page, kind of like out this way. the energy of like this. Even though these ones kind of go here. I really wanted that energy to go out like that. Like grass is blowing in the wind kind of thing. So I'm going to have that chartreuse come back in here. Maybe a little thicker leaves. If you look out in here, that bright chartreuse color. Just tip tapping and adding that out here. So it kind of balances from here down. See, I'm just kind of twist my brush. Twist, twist, play, boom. Don't you love it? Lots of energy. So then you can concentrate in here, like making your flower look a little, not, I wouldn't say realistic, but having a more depth quality to it. Adding in some little lines. Here too, you can just wiggle some lines. It's kind of faded, but that's fine. You can add some little ones in here, like berries almost. And then I'll add a center here, maybe like a yellow orange. Could add a little yellow here. And play around with the sunflower again, adding some little sprays, little lines here. Don't have to. See, I'm just gonna, the energy, it's this energy of that. Maybe add some yellow flowers in here to balance the sunflowers that are up here. I like to do things in threes. Some thick yellow paint. Add a little bit of orange. Just kind of throwing that in there. Get a little more intense, you know, have a little more fun. And go back in here and add some green. Again, brown. You can do some like twig kind of going in here. It's up to you. I mean, this is all kind of an energy that I'm just kind of flowing with and playing around with. Now I have that gold, so let's play with that a little bit. Let's get that gold in here somehow. Just kind of throw it in. Doing it on the leaves, on the sunflower, just playing around with it. You can splatter it. Get it loose. This is gold watercolor, by the way. It's kind of fun. See, I didn't do a lot, just a little bit. Playing around, adding it next to the stems, some of the sunflowers. You know, just adds a little element. Go around each petal, kind of outline it. That's kind of cool. Just kind of outlining the flowers. Just adds another, I don't know, je ne sais quoi to it. Still, but it's got all this energy in this whole area here. And this is kind of washed away. I might go back in and add just a really thick yellow orange kind of petal in here. Just to anchor that a little better. And then a few down in here. Like I said, you're just playing around with adding color. There's no right and wrong to this. There's just people having fun. It's that chartreuse, green. Little grasses going this way. So my hand is going like this. Pulling it up and over in here too, the brown. Squiggle back. Add some dark tones. Kind of throw those in a little bit. And that's my abstract for the day. And this is how I just do it. Just play with it. You just never know where it takes you, right? It's a lot of fun. Stop making it so serious. I'm going to add some dark lines. Ooh. That's going to change this flower a lot. Right? Kind of see, I'm just kind of wiggling it, indicating where the petals will go. giving it that energy that it needs. You can outline these ones too. It's all about, for me in this particular exercise, about the energy, the flow, the color, all that's coming into play in this one. The reds, the orange, the yellows, fall tones with a little twist. Maybe add some berries. Kind of just hanging out over here. It's up to you what you do. I just like to play. I feel like this is one of those weeks where overwhelmed, I don't know, just kind of like tired and anxious, and I had a whole other idea I was going to do today, and I decided nope. Let's play with some abstract. It's just more fun. And that's what I came up with for today. And I like it. I mean, maybe I would have been less green in here, more like left some more white, you know. I would redo it if I was going to redo it. I'm kind of liking the energy. I don't know. We'll see. You know, maybe it's too much. It's all just, it doesn't matter, really. Go and add some gold. The gold is kind of fun. Just tip-tapping it, adding it in certain places. Don't go overboard. Can you see the gold? Kind of see it shining in there in certain places. I just like the energy of the whole. Maybe up in here, I don't know if I like this blue that I kind of did up here. I can start to erase some of it and see what happens. No, that's all right. Got the greens and the browns kind of going. The grass is the way I want it to go, like this. It's all blowing this way. And that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, I think if I look back, I probably would have left a little more white. You know, I could, again, try and erase some of it up here by lifting up some of the water color, but it doesn't come up, no big deal. You know, I don't know if I like this so much. I might do something totally different. Play around with it. Maybe I'll go back in here and add just a little bit of black to highlight around the stamen area, so it really kind of stands out. Just little things like that. All right. Take care. Have fun with your painting. Don't stress about it. Don't freak out if it didn't come out the way you wanted to. It's an abstract. You can actually wait till this whole thing dries and go over it with some gouache if you don't even like that, which I've done many times. So please have fun. Please don't get in your head when it gets like, oh, I didn't like it, I don't want to do it. So I'm going back and adding the gouache. Isn't it yellow? I can pull it right out. See that? Don't freak out. You can always play some gouache on top of your watercolor if you didn't like it. It just adds a whole nother dimension. Boom. I just fixed that flower, didn't I? Adding some more yellow here. It got lost. You didn't think you could do that, but you could. Isn't that cool? Just change the whole energy of that flower. See, just add that white gouache in with the yellow. And boom, those flowers come up here, and I can add some more. Maybe I wanted to add another one down here that I didn't have. But I can do that now. Keep grabbing that white gouache, adding a yellow. Have a little flower right in here I can add that I didn't have before. All these different things. Again, it's all about play. There's the white, add some lime green. And again, a stem kind of hanging out here. All this good stuff. I'm all about play. Life is hard enough. Go back in and add a little center of your little yellow flower. And look how cute that is. Just a little guy hanging out there. All right, peeps. I hope you have a fantastic day. Please just play. Please don't stress out. Please just have fun, because that's what it's all about. And if you're not having fun, step away, come back to it later and do something else. All right, take care, and I'll speak to you soon.